Hello, friends. I hope you're doing well today. Um, well, this time I'd like to continue with my reading from the voyage of Captain John Saris to Japan, 1613, edited by Sir Ernest Sato. This lovely book that I have from the QTech Library, Kyushu Institute of Technology Library, on loan until the 5th of January. So I better not forget to return it, had I? Uh, I think I'll probably be ready to return it before then. But anyway, because I have the PDF of the contents from which I read. And so last time, if I can just recap a little bit, which will involve sharing, we were discussing, or sorry, I was reading from Saris's journal about his arrival at Hirado, the island off the west of Kyushu, and his meeting with Matsura Hōin, the ex-daimyo of Hirado. Okay, that's a photograph from the book. I think that's probably the best quality I can get. Um, and also, just to recap a little bit further. Let me just close that one. Um, I wanted to share a better version of Linschoten's map of the Eastern Seas. Um, I think I started off with a scanned version from the book that I've just shown you, which was not a very good one. Oh no, it wasn't. It was a scanned it was a page of the PDF, which was not a very good version, I think. And then I did a scanned version from this book. And finally, I've taken a photograph from the book, and this seems to be the best quality that I can get. And it's pretty good, this actually. As you can see, well, we've got the Philippines in the middle there. It says Insulae Philippinae, it says there. And we've got Japan, as I told you before, top left corner, Korea as an island, and so on and so forth. So I have managed to improve the reproduction quality of this. Um, but probably even better news is that today I purchased a copy online of Timon Screech's or Timon Screech's The Shogun's Silver Telescope, God, Art and Money in the English Quest for Japan, 1600 to 1625, which is Oxford University Press. When was it published exactly? Um, Published, well, it's 2020. Okay, so 5 years ago. And in this excellent book, there are some maps which are rather useful and relevant to what I'm dealing with now. So I hope the author and publisher won't mind me doing this. I've given them publicity anyway, so hopefully that will be all right. But no doubt they will get in touch with me if it isn't. I would have preferred, obviously, to contact them directly, but anyway. Uh, so here we've got a rather good map with all the necessary places for Asia in the 17th century. So we've got Yemen over on the left side, the west, with Mocha and Aden and Sana'a. Isfahan, I'm not quite sure why it's in there, but I think that's part of the Silk Road, isn't it? No doubt there's a reason for why it's there. Diu Surat Goa on the Indian coast there, and Masulipatam on the east coast of India. And then going down to Indonesia, we've got Banten or Bantam, as it was called by Saris, on the island of Java. The Strait of Sunda, we've got Batavia, which is modern day Jakarta. Melaka, which is modern day Malacca, Those are the Straits of Malacca, aren't they? Yes. We've got Aceh or Aceh, uh, which is where the tsunami happened some years ago, and still persists in happening, I think. Patani Ayutthaya, which is where there was a Japanese settlement in modern-day Thailand. Bago, Pegu. All right, so and then the Moluccas, the Spice Islands, over on the right here. And then Taiwan and Japan has got just three places: Hirado, Nagasaki, and Edo, modern-day Tokyo. Okay, so that's a very useful map to have in one's head, because these places keep getting mentioned, and without a map, it's pretty frustrating. Take it from me. All right, so I'll stop that share, and then there's one other very good map from the same source, if I can just use that. Let me see. Japan in the 17th century. There we are. So that's got all the places you need to know. Edo, Tokyo, you don't need any further north than that in this period. Sumpu, Shizuoka, Mount Fuji, Sakai, a trading port south of Osaka, Miyako, which is modern-day Kyoto. And then we've got down in Kyushu Island, we've got Kagoshima in the Satsuma area, the Satsuma domain. And then Nagasaki and Hirado, which is these islands where the British trading post was established in 1613 by Saris, John Saris. All right. So now that we've got those out of the way, the maps, I think I can get on with reading from the PDF of where is it now? Gosh, have I opened it? Yes, I have. There it is. Sure, that's surely it there, isn't it? Yes, good. Well done. I knew I'd opened it in advance so that, so that it would be easier to get it instantly for Zoom. All right, so I think I finished the 11th of June in the last video. So I'm just going to carry on with the 12th of June, 1613, Saris's journal. Just read it and read the footnotes, or most of them, supplied by Sir Ernest Satow himself. All right, so off we go. The 12th of June in the morning was brought aboard such abundance of fish and so cheap as we would desire. We weighed, that's weighed anchor, and set sail for the road, not quite the open sea, I think, but towards the open sea. The king sent out at the least 60 great boats, very well manned, to bring us into the harbour. Oh, sorry, going in the opposite direction, not to the sea. So the approach to the port, I suppose. They towed us about a point somewhat dangerous by reason of the force of the tide, but would not suffer me to give them anything for their pains. We anchored before the town in 5 fathom water, so near the shore as we could talk to them ashore in the houses. This is Hirado, isn't it? I gave order to salute the town with 9 pieces ordnance. This was a 9-cannon salute, yeah, but was not answered, for they have no ordnance here of their own, nor any fort, but barricados for small shot. Our ground here is O's. O's. I wonder what that is. O-A-Z-E. Our ground here is O's. Doesn't make sense. Well, if you know, you know, I suppose. Divers noblemen came to bid me welcome, whereof 2 were of great account, as Martson at Batchan had formerly advised me of their names, viz. Nobasane and Shimadone, who were well entreated, and at parting had 16 pieces ordnance, 16-cannon salute, holding great state, one staying a while after the other, and their children and chief, and here is where the footnotes start. At the bottom of the main text, the page of the main text. I So, number one, footnote two, would not suffer me to give them anything for their pains. I doubted what the cause of their coming might be, and was sending off the skiff to command them not to come near the ship. But the king, being the headmost, waved with his handkerchief and willed the rest to attend. And himself coming aboard, told me that he had commanded them to come to our ship in about a point somewhat dangerous by reason of the force of the tide, which was such that, having a stiff gale of wind, yet we could not stem it, and coming into the eddy, we should have been set upon the rocks. So we sent hawsers aboard them, and they fell to work. In the meanwhile, the king did break his fast with me, had breakfast with me. Being at an anchor, I would have required the people for their pains, requited the people for their pains, but the king would not suffer them to take anything, so he would have given them something for their effort in securing the ship. This is from Purchas for the same text. And then number two, which is barricados. From the Spanish barricada, a fortification made of barrels, barricas, or trunks of trees, etc. ? On board of a ship, a strong wooden rail supported by stanchions and extending as a fence across the foremost part of the quarterdeck. Falconer's Dictionary Marine, quoted in New English Dictionary. And that would be the Oxford Dictionary, English Dictionary, I think. Number three, Nobasane is Nobusane, a younger brother of the old king, and therefore great uncle of the reigning daimyo. Cox, that's Richard Cox, often calls him Bungo Dono, his full title being Bungo no Kami. Okay. And number four, Simadone, probably Sagawa Shume is meant, Done being a corruption of Dono or master. He was aged 33 at this time and held high office under the Matsura family. Thank you, Sir Ernest, for those notes. All right, so I'm going to start the bottom of the page of main text again, just so we can move on to the next page. Divers noblemen came to bid me welcome, whereof two were of great account, as Martz and Bachan had formerly advised me of their names. Bachan, is that Bantam? Viz. Nobasane and Shimadone, who were well entreated and at parting had 16 pieces ordnance, holding great state, one staying a while after the other, and their children and chief followers after them. There came continually such a world of people aboard, both men and women, as we were not able to go upon the decks, and all about the ship was covered with boats full of people, admiring much our head and stern. And giving leave to divers of the better sort of women to come into my cabin, where the picture of Venus hung, very lasciviously set out, and in a great frame, they fell down and worshipped it for Our Lady with shows of great devotion, telling me in a whispering manner that some of their own companions, which were not so, might not hear, that they were Christianos, whereby we perceived them to be of the Portingale-made Papistes, Portuguese Pope Papistes, Catholics, yeah, I suppose. Divers eatable presents were sent me by the king and his nobility, tubs of the country wine, that'd be sake perhaps, fish, hogs, pigs, and such like, which in requital to them which brought it was by order given 3 pieces coarse baftas. Baftas. I wonder what those are. Not footnoted by Sir Ernest there. Mr. Adams, that's William Adams, of course, his host, came and brought me a letter which he had left with him the last monsoon when he was here, to deliver from him to the first English ship arriving here, so that from Bantam or Potanie he had understood of a ship to come, ordering a post to be sent for him overland, which I did, notwithstanding I had formerly writ, which was by the king's means sent away with speed. Given to Mr. Adams' host, viz. 1 piece chorta at 22 reals per corge. One piece seribaf of 20 reals per corge. Corge. One piece bafta of 16 reals per corge. I wonder what this BAFTA is. It's not British Academy of Film and Theatre Awards, is it? Of course. Given more to 7 of the king's women which came aboard with him, 3 pieces BAFTA of 20 reals per corge. What is corge? 2 pieces BAFTA of 16 reals per corge, 1 piece BAFTA of 17, and 1 piece chorda at 8 reals per corge. Could these be textiles of some sort? The king came aboard again and brought 4 chief women with him. They were attired in gowns of silk, clapped the one sort over the other, and so girt to them. Yes, all right. So potanye is patani, which we've just seen on the map that I showed you. And number 2, so Ernest says, the seribaf is perhaps zerbaft, gold brocade, Ewell and Burnell. Okay. So he doesn't footnote everything by any means, of course. I mean, if he did, the footnotes would probably dwarf the book, or dwarf the main text, I should say. They were attired in gowns of silk, clapped the one sort over the other, and so girt to them, bare-legged, only a pair of half buskins bound with silk riband about their instep. Buskins. Their hair very black and very long, tied up, in a knot upon the crown in a comely manner. Their heads nowhere shaven as the men's were. Okay, so they were well-faced, handed, and footed, clear-skinned and white, but wanting colour, which they amend by art, of stature low, but very fat, very courteous in behaviour, not ignorant of the respect to be given unto persons according to their fashion. The king requested, this is Sato's first meeting with Japanese women, I suppose. The king requested that none might stay in the cabin save myself and my linguist, I suppose, who was born, my translator, my interpreter, perhaps, who was born in Japan and was brought from Bantam in our ship thither, being well skilled in the Malayan tongue, wherein he delivered to me what the king spoke unto him in the Japan language. The king's women seemed to be somewhat bashful, but he willed them, this is the daimyo's women, seemed to be somewhat bashful, but he willed them to be frolic, be entertaining, I suppose. They sung divers songs and played upon certain instruments, whereof one did much resemble our lute. That would be the shamisen, I think, being bellied like it, but longer in the neck, and fretted like ours, but had only 4 gut strings. Their fingering with the left hand like ours very nimbly, but the right hand striketh with an ivory bone, as we used to play upon a cittern with a quill. They delighted themselves much with their music, keeping time with their hands, and playing and singing by book, pricked on line and space, resembling much ours here. I feasted them and presented them with divers English commodities, and after some 2 hours' stay they returned. I spake unto the king, the daimyo, to have a convenient house ashore, which he willingly granted, and took Mr. Cox and Mr. Peacock ashore with him, to whom he showed 3 or 4 houses, willing them to take their choice, paying the owners as we could agree. They returned aboard, having taken the one, but not fully agreed upon price, paid to the pilots which brought us to an anchor here 30 reals. Okay, it looks like there's no notes on this page. Yes, that's right. Okay, no footnotes. So on we go to the next page. Let's make sure that is the next page. Yes, it is. Note that my whole company here is 70 persons, viz. 63 English, 1 Japan, 1 Spaniard, and 5 Swats, having lost 11 between Bantam and this port of Ferrando in Japan. So Ferrando, Hirado. And as I said before, Swats is black persons. God continue the lives of the rest. Allowance, sack and biscuit, 1 meal pork with wheat, 1 meal oatmeal with oil. The 13th June, I conferred with Mr. Cox and the merchants concerning two fitting presents for the king and governor, and was resolved upon as followeth to be equally divided between them, viz. Right. Now we've got interesting items. Half a stammet C, number 61, cost reals 056.1. Half a black CO, number 116, cost reals 053.3. Half a flame color CO, number 14, cost reals 038.3. Half a gallant CO, number 113, cost reals 043.3. 2 barrels of powder, cost reals 035.2. 2 double-locked damasked pieces, reals 017.2. 6 pieces of simian chorters, reals 010.3. 10 fine white chorters, reals 011.0. 10 blue birams, reals 007.2. 10 pieces white Baftas, reals 005.2, 10 pieces Cassini Hareri, reals 010.0. 4 pieces of Tapsel Mature, reals 009.0. 10 pieces red Celas, reals 006.0. 4 pieces Aleias, reals 003.1, and 2 gilt plate cups, P 17 and 5/8 ounces, reels 003.78, and 2 pieces Pintados Pisgars, reels 001.0, total 340 reels and 3/8. All right, so we've got lots of footnotes here. So number 1, what was number 1? Let's see. Go up to number 1. Where is that? Oh, can't find it. Where is it? Oh, yes, viz. As followeth, to be equally divided between them, viz. So this was the present given to each. See note 3 on next page. The new units in the right-hand column appear to be quarter dollars. Okay. And number 2 is a stammet, which is a stuff much used for petticoats, also a scarlet dye. See, he rages like a bull in Circean show, whose dreadful horns the stammel, which provokes his fury, toss with still deluded strokes. 1626, W. Sands, translation of Ovid's Metamorphoses. Okay. Stamel and stammet. Interesting. Number 3, these are words I'm just not familiar with. Gallant. This word occurs in a list of cloths in the first letterbook of the East India Company, page 97. Flame colors alias gallants. So we are talking textiles here, at least partly. Number 4 is hariri. See note on page 42. Well, yes, I'll take your word for that. Number 5, red celas, a cotton stuff. See Shally, Yule, and Burnell. SV. I wonder what SV is. Okay. Number 6 is for poise weight. In Cox's diary, we find po, pis, and poise used indifferently. All right. And pintados, or pieces of pintados pisgars, pintado, a painted or spotted cloth, i.e. chintz. Okay, so Ernest has done a fairly detailed edit on that page. On we go to the next page. I went ashore and delivered these presents, accompanied with the merchants, the master, and best of the sailors, and had 9-piece shot, that's 9 cannon salute, I suppose, at the delivery of each present. Wow, each present. So sounds like a lot of cannon being fired. Being the fashion so to do, as the Flemings, the Dutch, inform me, otherwise they think it not given with a free heart. Otherwise. Okay. I also gave to the young king or governor my kitosal, which he took a liking to, being very fair, of white damask, with a deep silk and gold fringe, not at present, but after my return aboard sent it unto him, which he most kindly accepted, requiting me with 1,000,000 of compliment, wherein they are very perfect by Portugal's and Spaniards' instructions. I sent to the captain of the Dutch house a runlet of Spanish wine and a terce of strong beer. Beer, I think that is. Beare. Allowance, sack and biscuit, 1 meal beef, 1 meal pork. That, I think, is the allowance for the crew, is it? Possibly. He notes that every time at the end of the entry, I believe. Number 1C note on page 39, not so very helpful. I suppose there is a note about a kittasal. Number 2, terce is a vessel holding the third part of a pipe. Okay. Number 3, the 13th, I went ashore. Oh, this is purchase, I think. He quotes purchase as an alternative. When Robert Morton and I were editing Sir Ernest's diaries for 1862 to 1869, I was quite keen to quote a diplomat in Japan in full at some points, rather like Sato is doing here. So I sort of feel slightly vindicated. I think Robert would have been happy with just a reference to the page number and the chapter and page in Diplomat in Japan. But anyway, seems that Sato follows, or doesn't follow, but he and I are sort of in agreement to give full quotations. All right. Anyway, interesting. So this is purchase. The 13th, I went ashore, attended upon by the merchants and principal officers, and delivered the presents to the king, amounting to the value of £140 or thereabouts, which he received with very great kindness, feasting me and my whole company with divers sorts of powdered wild fowls and fruits, and calling for a standing cup, which was one of the presents then delivered him. He caused it to be filled with his country wine, which is distilled out of rice, so it'd be sake then, rice wine, and is as strong as our aqua vitae, whiskey. You know? And albeit the cup held upward of a pint and a half, notwithstanding taking the cup in his hand, he told me he would drink it all off for a health to the King of England, and so did myself and all his nobles doing the like. And whereas in the room where the king was, there was only myself and the Cape merchant, the rest of our company being in another room, the king commanded his secretary to go out unto them and see that every one of them did pledge the health. The king and his nobles did sit at meat cross-legged upon mats, that'd be tatami mats, after the Turkey fashion. The mats richly edged, some with cloth of gold, some with velvet, satin, and damask. Okay, that's purchase. Quite like purchase's version. Whether it's based on, I think it's based on maybe Saris and improves on it, yeah, or attempts to. Okay, any more notes for this page? Any more footnotes? No, that's it. So go on to the next day. The 14th of June, understanding that there were other great men who expected presents, conferred with the merchants and appointed as followeth for the young king's brother and Nobasanye to be parted equally between them, shared equally. Half stammet, CO, cost number 61, reals 056.1. Half a gallant, CO cost number 113, reals 043.3. 10 pieces blue birams, reals 007.2. 10 red sellers, reals 006.0. 20 pieces white Baftas, reals 009.0. 10 pieces Cassioni Hareri, reals 009.0. 6 pieces fine Chortas, reals 006.3. 4 pieces fine Baral, reals 001.3. 1 piece Tapsel, reals 002.1. 2 pieces Pintados Pisgar, reals 000.3. 1 parrot bought of the carpenter, reals 015.0. More 2 reels of 8 to Nobusane's 2 sons, reals 002.0. Sum, or total, reals 160. Seem to have, well, obviously you'd expect it, but the Clove had pretty full cargo. So they kept giving these, I suppose, mainly textiles, which would be light and not take up too much space. I suppose that's what they're doing. Captain Broer came aboard to dinner. At his departure, had three pieces, three-gun salute. And so I went ashore, accompanied with the merchants, and at delivery of the said presents, had seven pieces shot off. And at coming aboard, a nobleman called Unagensi sent me a fat hog and 2 barrels of wine for a present. I returned thanks and gave the messenger 1 piece white Bafta, and ordered 2 pieces of the same to be delivered to John Japan to make him shirts, being our linguist. Allowance, sack and biscuit, 1 meal pork with wheat, 1 meal wheat with oil. I think I'm going to have a quick Google and see if I can find BAFTA in this the way it's used in this context. I wonder. I don't want BAFTA awards, obviously. That's a distraction. Oh, it only seems to talk about BAFTA awards. We probably need to go to a decent dictionary like the Oxford English Dictionary. Okay, so look at the footnotes then. We've got number 1 is Nobusane. That is at the top. Yeah, Nobusanie is Nobusane. Page 82. Number 2 is a color. What's that? Which one is that? CO means color. Okay, half a stammet, color. And CO it means color. And number 3, which is difficult to pronounce, Unagensie. The name of this officer occurs frequently in Cox's diary, and in one place is given as Nagen or Unagense Dono, 2125. Cox calls him Captain General, 169. In the Tokyo reprint of Cox's diary, Index SV, the editor suggests that this name is a corruption of Naizen no Sho. Nagen, if the G were pronounced soft, might well stand for Naizen in Cox's spelling. Perhaps the surname was Uno, and the form we find here may possibly be a corruption of Uno Naizen, the syllables no and nai being run together by a mistake. Right. Okay. I don't know. I think I might stop here. I've got to the 15th of June. Let's quickly see how long the next entry is, if we can. There's more of this stuff being given out. Yeah, it's sort of a similar entry, I suppose. So perhaps not worth reading. 16th of June. Just sort of skipping along here a bit. Arranging for a house in Hirado, I think. This day our ship was so pestered with people as I was fain to send to the king, to the daimyo, for a guardian to clear them out, many things being stolen. But I more doubt our own people than the naturals, but they laid it on them, so we cannot find the thief. So they blamed the Japanese. The crew blamed the Japanese for stealing things. There came in a Fleming, a Dutchman from the island Mashma, where he had been, and sold good store of pepper, cloth, and olliance teeth. But he would not be known to us to have sold anything, yet brought nothing back in the boat with him. But the Japans, his watermen, told us the truth, and that he had sold good quantity of goods at a mart there, which he carried over with him, and returned bars of silver, which they kept very secret. Thomas Jones, baker, was taken by the master swimming ashore in the night, yet he and others pardoned at entreaty of friends. Friends, I suppose. Allowance, beer and biscuit, 1 meal fresh pork, 1 meal fresh fish with vinegar. So, all right, so number 1 there, that's in that list at the top of the page, I think. Is it? I can't. Oh, yes, it is. Chint Amadawa is Chintz of Ahmadabad. And the next one, oh, just says see note on page 77, not very helpful. Um, Robert was right about that kind of note. It doesn't, you have to go hunting for the previous note, which is all very well, but a little bit irritating at times. And number three, what's number three? Oljant's teeth is elephant's teeth, as one might have expected, meaning ivory. Okay, well, I think this has been quite an interesting insight into the way that Sato uh, did his editing, which we've already seen in the previous video I did. Um, but I'm encouraged that the English is by no means impossible. Of course, there are some rare words, some rare silks and textiles and what have you, that I've certainly never heard of and probably need to be checked. But the broad meaning of the encounters is fairly clear, and that's that's good to know. I mean, okay, we're talking about English, which is what 400 years or more than 400, yeah, 1613, and now we're 2025, so it's just over 400 years ago, this English. But it is identifiable and comprehensible with some issues to the modern reader, I think. Good. I think I will stop there. Thank you very much for being with me up to this point, and I'll join you again as soon as I can. Thank you. Goodbye.